Now, with us right now on the APEC VIP hotline, cutting-edge training for the serious athlete, apecgo.com, from foxsportssouthwest.com. It's Keith Whitmire. How you doing, Keith?
Hey, great. How are you guys?
Doing fine. Thanks for coming on with us today. You heard the question in the open. What is the latest on Josh Hamilton and Zach Greinke as far as you know right now?
Well, I was just checking Twitter just before I got on. There's unconfirmed reports that Hamilton has signed with the Mariners for 6 years, $135 million, but again, that's unconfirmed.
Whoa.
None of the big major media sources have confirmed that.
This is like Bud's blog right now?
Yeah, exactly.
So what do you think the chances of that actually happening?
Right now, I can't see that happening this soon. The latest report is the Yankees are kind of kicking the tires on Hamilton, and you'd be foolish to sign with anyone before he hears what the Yankees have to offer. I mean, I just think, bottom line, the Mariners are trying to do what the Rangers are trying to do. They're trying to get Josh Hamilton cheap. Hamilton's looking for a long-term 6-7 year contract. He wants his Prince Fielder type contract, and I don't know if there's a club out there willing to do that considering his history.
Well, and you bring up a really good point. I mean, the thing about it is you can't just look at the situation as a baseball situation. You have to deal with the surroundings with Josh Hamilton, what the environment would be like. Would Seattle be a good place for Josh Hamilton?
That's a very good question. First of all, there's Safeco Field, which is historically a terrible hitting park. Now, they are moving the fences in, and you got to consider when Hamilton hits them, it doesn't matter how far the fences are. He's not one of those guys who hits cheapies. But at the same time, a bad hitter's park is a bad hitter's park, but they're not going to be able to change the weather there, the conditions that really kills the flight of the ball. You'll hit more homers there, but it won't be like hitting in Arlington, which has been very kind to Hamilton. And second of all, the Mariners are on a long-term, rebuilding process. I'm not sure bringing in a high-dollar free agent to suck up a lot of the budget is what they need. Who are they going to have there to protect Hamilton in the batting lineup? It doesn't make sense for them to give him, like I said, Prince Fielder money and then not have anything to protect him with. So it's kind of iffy. I tend to think the Mariners, they're desperate for offense, and they see Hamilton as someone who could solve some of that. But I just don't see the Mariners, following their history, giving him the huge contract. But we've all been surprised before.
True. And then you turn around and talking about the Yankees. I saw the story this morning in the USA Today, and they're
right.
Kicking the tires right now. But I can't imagine a worse place for Josh Hamilton to be, given all the support system that he needs to be going into that kind of a deal.
Well, that's why I think no matter what happens, the Rangers are still at least 50-50 for him to come back, because he's not going to find a better place to surround himself, support-wise, and the community and the way the team, caters to him. Now, he's going to have to mend a few fences the way the season ended last year with him, casually dropping the fly ball and the way he really went south at the plate and seemed stubborn about changing his approach. And, people were booing him at the end there. And, I think he could win people over, though. But, if he comes back and only signs a 3-year deal, that means that he's come back on the Rangers' terms, and that says a lot.
Keith Whitmire from foxsportssouthwest.com on Bryan Houston Sports Radio Live on 99.3 Talk FM. You mentioned talking about the way things were at the end of the season. It's amazing how a little time kind of calms some of that down, because, boy, at the end of the year, you couldn't find 5 people out there that wanted Josh Hamilton anywhere near the ballpark after the year that he had.
No, but as you know, with fans, all it takes is a couple of homers and he'll win them back. The clubhouse is what's intriguing to me. You remember Mike Adams, who's apparently on his way out with the Rangers, did an interview on the radio, and he mentioned about how you never knew which Josh Hamilton you were going to get. And he even asked if Josh would be good for the Rangers to sign, and he said he wasn't sure. And there's never a ball player that says somebody shouldn't give somebody a bunch of money. And Adams said he wasn't sure if it would be a good business for the Rangers to sign Hamilton. So I think the Rangers themselves, no one said it, we're getting a little tired of his act too, and the constant freakish injuries and problems and begging out of games. I think they were getting a little tired of it, and I can't say that for sure because no one would say it publicly, but that Michael Young ran that clubhouse. The type of player Michael Young is. The type of player Adrian Beltre is. You practically have to taser them to get them off the field, and Josh Hamilton was the exact opposite.
And you just mentioned Michael Young, and it looks like the Rangers are working real hard to try to see if they can't move him to Philadelphia. What do you think the chances are that Young's not with the ball club by the time the season starts?
I think it's looking pretty good. I think it'd be a smart move for him. I'm hesitant for him to go anywhere that doesn't have a DH. But they apparently want him as an everyday third baseman. If you're Michael Young, I mean, you've got to take that. The guy wants to play. He can still contribute. No, he's not a Gold Glove third baseman anymore. He could be serviceable, and you could give him a shot, I guess. He's not going to beat out Adrian Beltre here or Mike Olt, so
yeah.
And as the Rangers revamp their lineup, it's going to be harder and harder for him to find a place in the lineup other than maybe DH. Because Profar's coming in, they're going to have to find a place to put Kinsler.
Yeah.
And his skills are declining. There's no way around that. He had a bad season last year. Usually he has a slump and he pulls out of it and becomes the old Michael Young, and the numbers are back to where they were. But this year they never did go back up. So if it's a chance to play every day and the Phillies really want him, he should do that.
What do you think the chances are of the Rangers signing Greinke?
I think they're very good. I mean, latest indications are that the Dodgers and Angels have backed off a little. I think the Rangers can sign anybody they want to with the ownership they have right now. And he would really cement a lot of things in the rotation for them. Yu Darvish has emerged as sort of an ace, and then, of course, Matt Harrison, if he can come back with a similar year. And then about midway through the year, they might get Colby Lewis back, and, boy, that's a pretty good lineup right there if you get Greinke leading it off. And, it's been pointed out that the Dodgers and Angels would have to offer $180 million to match Texas $150 because of the taxes in California. But I've never heard of a player signing because of taxes. But I think they've got a very good shot. Now, can they sign Greinke and Hamilton? That's kind of iffy. I think that would have to be only if Hamilton is a real bargain.
So you don't see that happening then?
Like I said, I think they sign Hamilton, bring him back. I think if they get Greinke, then Hamilton's really going to be more of a bargain. I think they can do anything they want. Their ownership has all the money they want. It's whether it's a prudent deal.
Sure. All right, and then there's all this talk about the Rangers' interest in Upton from the Diamondbacks. I mean, is there a possibility he's going to come regardless of whether they sign Greinke or Hamilton?
Well, I mean, I'm not privy to what's going on with John Daniels or Nolan Ryan, but
they're not talking anyways.
Yeah. And that's been the Rangers' modus operandi, not to say anything and then suddenly they surprise you with a press conference. But like I said, this ownership group, if they want to, they could outspend the Yankees. I mean, the Yankees have gone on a budgeting trend lately. They want to stay out of the luxury tax. I'm not sure how this Rangers ownership group, they've never really turned down a good offer because of budget. So, but they want to make smart moves. They're not going to spend money just to spend money. And the key thing is who do you have to give up to get Justin Upton? And, the Rangers have a lot of good young talent. And, you'd hate to see someone like Elvis Andrus go, but because really I think last year he became the leader of the team. I think he sort of supplanted Michael Young in a lot of ways with his leadership on the field. For one thing, he was a constant presence on the field, which Michael Young no longer is. And I would hate to see Elvis go, but at the same time, you know who Elvis's agent is, and that's Scott Boras.
Yep.
And you've got Profar. In some ways it makes sense, but in other ways, the Rangers are going to be a drastically different team personality-wise next year anyway. Losing Napoli, if they lose Young, if they lose Hamilton, you'd hate to also lose Elvis Andrus, who really sets the tone there. But it might take something like that to get a Justin Upton.
And it looks like they're going to be doing a lot of shuffling in the bullpen now, too, with Adams leaving, Uhara gone now. It looks like there are going to be a lot of moving parts there, both in the starting rotation and with the relievers.
That's right, and they signed the guy from the Royals coming off of Tommy John surgery, and usually it takes those guys a year to fully recover, but they I think Joaquin Zoria. He may be the incumbent to Joe Nathan because they're probably going to get one or two more good years out of Joe Nathan, and his age is getting up there. But yeah, they rework the bullpen all the time, and signing Nathan proved out to be a great signing for them. And it was kind of underrated in a lot of ways, but he was also coming off Tommy John, and people weren't quite sure what they were getting with him. But they usually the middle relievers are jumbled up anyway. It's a new cast there anyway. But don't forget Neftali Feliz, when he comes back from his arm injury, he'll be in the bullpen, and we've seen what he can do when he's healthy.
How big of a hit is it going to be with Napoli being gone?
Like I wrote for FoxSportsSouthwest.com, if they were losing the 2011 Napoli, it would be a huge hit. But the 2012 Napoli was more like every other year of Napoli's career. he just didn't have it. And he had a magical lightning in a bottle year. Was a key component to that World Series run. Probably would have been the MVP of the World Series if they had beaten the Cardinals. But he kind of came back down to earth last year, and he's limited defensively as a catcher. He's got good power. Still hit 24 homers last year, but he just didn't hit well enough.
And then you see all the names that are out there floating around that could relocate to Texas. Among them R.A. Dickey. I mean, what's the possibility of that happening?
Oh, I wouldn't say it's 0%, but I don't see that. I don't see that move as being necessary. Dickey had a great season. He's been with the Rangers before. I'm not sure he's the type of pitcher they're looking for, really, to spend that kind of free agent money on. They're looking for more of a power pitcher type and someone that could help them many years down the road, I think.
And also kind of ironic when you think about how long he was with the organization and just never did work out for him here.
Oh, he had some great games, though, at points, but definitely, he's a knuckleballer who's had arm trouble, and, he really a great guy. Couldn't ask for a better season to happen to a better guy last year. I just don't see him as being on top of their priority list. Things fall their way, you would love to have a guy like that in your clubhouse and on the mound.
What is it about Ian Kinsler that the Rangers just love him so much? Because it just seems like they've it's talk about a Jerry Jones syndrome. This is a guy, he's a good ball player, but he's not a great ball player, but yet they've paid him like he's a great ball player.
The sabermetricians I know think that he's, one of the Rangers' best players, and he definitely is at the ballpark. On the road, he's terrible.
Yeah. It's
amazing. He's got some great athletic ability. When he's hot, he is as hot as Josh Hamilton. I mean, but he just, no one stays hot that long. I think he is among American League second basemen. You got to give him his props there. It's
but it looks like he's going to be playing first this year.
Yeah, I mean, it's because this kid broke far. It looks like he might be, better. So it might be one of the all-time greats. So. I don't know. I think that he's still young, and he's still got a good bat. He's still a good leadoff hitter for him at times. And when they are running, he's a good base stealer. I think he does a lot for the offense other than just when he swings the bat. And other than he makes terrific plays in the field, and then he'll box the simple ones. So that's really more of a concentration issue. And at times he's cut down that considerably. He's come up through them. System, and I think he's a good part for them.
Now there is the talk that if they don't re-sign, or even if they do re-sign Hamilton, that in center field it will be Leonis Martin and Craig Gentry probably platooning there. How do you like that move?
Oh, I'm not convinced of that yet. I don't think we've seen enough of Leonis for them to go with him, but I could be wrong. We'll see what happens in the spring. I think if Hamilton comes back, he'll play a lot of center and of course left. But I think Martin will still have to prove something in spring for that to happen.
So gut feeling, and I realize there's a lot of time between now and spring training, and a lot of things can happen. But if you had to put your finger on it, what kind of moves? What do you see as being the moves that the Rangers make that get the most headlines here in the next few weeks?
Well, if they get Greinke, that would be the free agent signing of the off season. And like I said, I think that would be, send trimmers across the American League. But you remember, last year the Angels were making all the noise in the off season, and we saw how that worked out for them. So and remember, the Cardinals lost Pujols, and people thought, well, that's terrible. The world has ended. The Cardinals ended up making the playoffs, and the Angels didn't. So, if I had to guess, they signed Greinke, and it sounds like the Upton deal, if there's just a little hang-up that could be smoothed out, they could get Upton. And then I'm not sure Josh Hamilton comes back. I put that as 50-50 right now.
Bottom line is, it doesn't matter who wins the press conference, right?
Exactly. and don't think anything is a given with the Rangers. They constantly surprise people with their moves.
Absolutely. Hey, Keith, thanks very much for coming on with us. We appreciate you giving us an update and some insights, and we look forward to talking to you down the line.
You bet. My pleasure.
Good talking to you.
We'll see you.
Keith Whitmire from FoxSportsSouthwest.com on Bryan Houston Sports Radio Live on 99.3 Talk FM.